everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Beatrice Silva, and you're listening to What's the Buzz. I'm really excited about today's show, not only because it's my very first episode, but also because I'm going to be covering some current events and talking about what it's been like as a young adult living in the midst of a pandemic. So, as you guys all know, the coronavirus has impacted every aspect of life around the globe. Practicing social distancing, wearing a mask when you have to leave the house, and working remote has become the new norm for millions of people around the world. But I wanted to bring it a little bit more closer to home. So, as of April 20th, Broward and Miami-Dade are the two most affected counties in South Florida, with nearly 4,000 cases in Broward County and 9,000 in Miami-Dade. Broward County's death toll is currently at 115, Miami-Dade's is 202, and West Palm Beach has reported 121 deaths. Excuse me. But in response, Palm Beach County officials have announced a plan to stage a field hospital in South Florida fairgrounds in case nearby hospitals experience a surge of coronavirus cases. Refrigerated trailers currently occupy the site, and they're serving as temporary morgues until the facility is built. Upon completion, it will be able to treat as many as 200 COVID-19 patients. Now, County Mayor Dave Kerner doesn't think a field hospital is necessary just yet because area hospitals are only at 50% of their capacity, which is a good thing. But a field hospital is just only part of the county's overall preparation plan. Kerner says officials will reveal other details in upcoming days. Now, Broward County, on the other hand, has opened a drive-through testing site in Lauderhill, and all three counties are requiring everyone to wear masks in retail spaces like grocery stores and pharmacies. Now, if you don't have a professional medical grade mask, don't worry. The CDC says a homemade cloth mask will do just the trick. I tried looking for a face mask a few weeks ago, and they're almost impossible to find. I looked at CVS, Walmart, Best Buy. I even went to Home Depot to look through like the painting area to see if we could find just something to cover the face. I couldn't find anything. So I wanted to show you guys how to make a face mask with just 2 hair ties, a piece of cloth, but you can also use like a cut up t-shirt, you could use a dishcloth, basically anything works. So this is about 11 inches long and 3 inches wide. So I'm just gonna move my camera so I can show you guys. So what you're gonna wanna do is place the pattern face down. You're gonna grab the hair tie and put it on either side. Now, I have 1,000 million hair ties laying around, but if you don't, you can use a rubber band or any kind of elastic to do the trick. You're gonna fold over the cloth, one side over, I would say about 2 inches. And okay, so you guys, you're gonna wanna wash your hands before putting this on because you're gonna be touching your face when you put on the mask. So make sure you wash your hands. I washed my hands before. So when you put it on, you're gonna hold it like this and just do this and adjust. So it's a quick, easy face mask. And the great thing about it is, oh, here's the hair tie. Once you take it off, you can wash it. I suggest washing it anytime you leave the store or when you come back. Wash it. You can switch it out for different colors, different patterns to match your outfit. So it's a super easy, quick way to make a mask. Of course, you're going to want to hold it down with maybe tape or glue and make it more permanent. But if you're looking for something on the go, this is the best thing for you. So I also wanted to talk about another major issue people are facing right now. Within the last few weeks, hundreds of thousands of businesses have closed, leaving people jobless. To make matters worse, unemployment systems are overloading, which as a result has slowed down the unemployment claims process significantly. I personally filed for unemployment in mid-March, And let me tell you, the application took me hours to complete. For me, and I'm sure for many, many others, it was an extremely stressful process. I work at a restaurant, well, used to work at a restaurant, and around March 10th, I started to notice things weren't the same. I think it was like a Friday night, and we normally have a full house, tons of reservations, 2 hour wait. And that day we were lucky to have 6 tables. So while I didn't know that the restaurant was going to be closing or shutting down, I did know something was happening. So I tried to pick up as many shifts as I could, and I just felt like things aren't going to be the same for a little while. So March 10th came. That was my last day at work. Um, Even though I was scheduled for 4 shifts, my manager, she was calling people off and just saying, stay home. And so me and my coworkers were kind of in limbo land for about a week. We weren't technically laid off, but we weren't working. So we didn't know what to do. Finally, on March 17th, a week later, my manager texted everyone, and she was like, "Hey, we have to lay you guys off just so you can claim unemployment." And she sent a text message out, and she was like, "Here's the link where you file. I suggest you do it ASAP, as soon as possible." When I got the text message, I was about to cook dinner, and I literally stopped what I was doing and I hopped online to start the long, long process of filing for unemployment. And let me tell you, it was a headache. It was probably because I was stressed, I was hungry, but I was not in the right mind to be processing so much information. And to make matters worse, by the time I was done with the application, I didn't even know if I did it right. And I had no one to call. I tried calling the help number online. That didn't really work. I reached out to a couple friends. They didn't know what to do really, because this is new to all of us. And so I think I hit rock bottom when I was searching through my taxes to find my employment number. And I just was like, okay, I need to calm down. I need to stop what I'm doing. I need to breathe. I need to get something to eat, and I'm going to come back to it. So luckily, since then, the Florida Department Economic Opportunity has released a new mobile-friendly site for Floridians to apply for reemployment assistance. The DEO is encouraging anyone who has not filed an application to use the new mobile-friendly site. So there is a new site. The old dinosaur site is gone, and one of my friends recently filed a claim through the new site, and she told me it took her less than 15 minutes to complete. Now, I'm very, very happy for her that she had a stress-free, wonderful experience. At the same time, I couldn't help but wonder, where the heck was that when I needed it, when I was having my emotional mental breakdown? Regardless, hers was nice and easy, and I'm happy for other people that they don't have to experience what I experienced. So my unemployment claim is still pending. Sometimes when I try to log into the account, it says error. And when I try calling, it's pointless because it's always busy and no one ever answers. So I'm still kind of in limbo land. So there's a few other things you can do in the meantime to help you save money while you're waiting for your unemployment check to come in. And a couple of these things really helped me because, like I said, I'm still waiting for my check to come in. And so any place you can save money right now, you need to do it. If you're worried about paying your bills on time, the best thing you can do is call your creditors. Many companies are providing financial relief for those who are in need right now. For example, Apple is letting Apple Card owners skip April's payment just like they did in March. Bank of America has paused foreclosures, evictions, and account holders can submit an online request for a payment deferral without any late fees. Comcast is offering this really cool free access to its Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots for everyone, including non-subscribers, for 60 days. So this is really cool because you could be literally walking on the street and check your Wi-Fi, because Xfinity has a ton of hotspots almost everywhere, almost on every corner. Pacific Gas and Electric Co. has halted services disconnections for non-payment for both residential and commercial customers until further notice. AT&T is also suspending the termination of wireless home phone for broadband services for 60 days. T-Mobile is offering unlimited data to all of their current customers. And Verizon is waiving all late fees and suspending service terminations. So those are a lot of companies who are doing really good, trying to help people in need right now. You can also cancel subscriptions and memberships you're not using. Okay, so I wouldn't suggest canceling the Netflix, the Hulu, the Disney Plus, the Spotify, because those are the subscriptions that are offering entertainment. And honestly, I feel like those are a necessity right now. So don't cancel those. But your gym membership, on the other hand, isn't a necessity right now, just because you can't even go to the gym. And face it, like me, I wasn't even using my gym membership. So I canceled that bad boy. That was $30 a month. I probably used it twice last year. So I'm probably not going to sign up even when things do go back to normal, just because that's $30 extra I can try to save up again. Another great way to save money is to be more energy efficient, which people should be practicing this anyways. So try washing your laundry with cold water instead of hot. Unplug any electronics you're not using, and turn off any lights that don't need to be on, just to save a couple dollars on your electric bill at the end of the month. Another huge thing that I noticed that helped me save money was making a list when I'm going to the grocery store. I feel like when I don't have a list at the grocery store, I'm just going down the aisles, throwing anything in my bag. Like, do I really need those bag of Flaming Hot Cheetos? Probably. For my soul, yes, but for my pocket, no. And also buying generic brands. Some people are label snobs. I would say my friends love their Starbucks. They love their Special K cereal, their Kellogg's. That's good too. But when you're in a pickle, buying generic brands just makes sense. And honestly, sometimes they're half off or even cheaper than the expensive name brands. So that's a great way to save money. Okay, the one last thing I would suggest doing would be cleaning out your closet and selling some of your gently used clothes online. And it's more fun than it sounds. I know an afternoon cleaning your closet doesn't sound like the best thing ever, but it's actually a lot of fun because you will find clothes that you didn't even know that you had. And apps like Poshmark and ThredUp make it really, really easy for people to make extra money by selling their unwanted items. All you have to do is take a picture of that dress you haven't worn in forever, that shirt that's been in the way back of your closet, upload it to Threadmark or Poshup, and then people from all over the world or all over the country can see what you're posting live, and they can either buy it automatically or give you an offer, give you a counter offer, and that money goes straight into your bank account. So that's a really great idea to make just a little bit extra money. So once stores start to open again, you can also try selling anything that hasn't been sold on on Poshmark or TradeUp to Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet is like a gently used secondhand store, and they pay people for their clothes. And it's also like a great place to find super cheap, cute clothes. So if you are trying to save money, but you really need a cute outfit, Plato's Closet has got you covered. Well, no one knows for sure what life is going to be like after quarantine ends. I'm only assuming that things aren't just going to go back to normal right away. Honestly, I don't think people are going to be as quick to go to those restaurants, as quick to go to the theaters, or go out to the bars. I feel like even when life does go back to normal, the new normal is going to be quite different than what we think it is. I feel like restaurants are going to have tables spread out probably farther than 6 feet apart. And even when you do go to a restaurant, I think you're still going to see a lot of people wearing masks or carrying Lysol sprays around them. Your servers are probably going to be wearing, if not a full like body protection, or maybe like masks, and maybe something like not what the doctors and nurses are wearing, but maybe something similar to that. I think there's going to be no more menus. I feel like there'll be menus, but there'll be disposable menus. I don't think there's going to be plastic. I don't think there's going to be like plastic menus with a cover. I feel like salt shakers or ketchup bottles on the table are going to be a thing of the past. Also, I feel like a lot of people are going to bring their own utensils. I have my straw that I like to bring places because plastic straws, they were already a thing of the past, but I feel like people are going to start bringing their own things with them to restaurants. Hopefully, flights stay at a good price. I unfortunately had to travel for a family emergency in March, and it was scary. I didn't want to go, but I know I had to be there for my family. I flew to New Mexico, and the airports were desolate. It was shocking to see. I flew from Florida FLL to DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Texas. And normally I fly that route a lot because that's how I go see my family. And normally that's a hustle and bustle. You see people coming and going, thousands of people in the airport. When I went, I'd be walking and I wouldn't see anybody. And so that was comforting in the way for me as a traveler, knowing that, okay, I'm not going to be exposed to a lot of people. But at the same time, it was such an eerie experience. I would have never thought in a million years that I would see DFW as a ghost town. That's like the biggest, one of the hubs airports. So overall, I sprayed, I wore my mask, I wore gloves. When I was about to go on my flight, I picked a seat, I sat there, and I did not move. And when I got on my flight, I sprayed everything down, and I felt safe. Now, I would not suggest for anyone to travel unless they have an emergency. But if you do have to travel, just make sure you're cautious. I traveled almost, this is going to be, I've been home for 3 weeks now, so I'm safe, I feel healthy, but I'm not going to be risking my life for, a cheap flight. Well, if they have a vaccine for the coronavirus and flights are still cheap just because they want people to start traveling, okay, maybe that's different. But I don't think people are going to be traveling like they used to for at least a year, maybe two. So right now, it's really hard to stay connected with friends. You know, we want to see people, but we also need to respect the quarantine for the safeties of not only ourselves, but for the people we love around them. So a great way to stay connected is this app called Marco Polo. It's similar to Snapchat in the way that you record yourself speaking and you send it over to your friend. But however, it's different because the video you send, it's saved. And so it's easy to carry on a conversation, and it's easy to tell. You can look back, if you forget what your friend said, you can look back and watch the video again. So I highly suggest Marco Polo. Also, I've been really into the old-fashioned snail mail. Writing your friends letters and sending them, putting them in the mail is so cute and fun. That's how I've been talking to one of my best friends, Brenna Franz. She lives in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we write each other letters, and it's just like a fun thing to get in the mail. Like, you go to check your mailbox and you have a nice handwritten letter from your friend. And I think just bringing back some of the old values, like reading books with your family, writing letters to your loved one, playing board games at home. I feel like those are some of the positives of being in quarantine. While I'm sure some of us were like ripping out our hairs, we're looking out the window being like, let us out. We need to try to understand and try to see the positives in this situation. Getting closer to family, maybe going back to our roots and doing fun game nights. Also, virtual happy hours are the new thing. And so, yeah, so there are ways to talk to your friends that don't have to be face to face. And right now is also a really, really good time to start a book club. I don't know if everyone's like, woohoo, book club, but if we have a lot of free time on your hands, reading a book is a great way to transport you to another time, another era without leaving the comfort of your own home. One of my favorite books of all time is called The Book Thief. It's based in 1938, and it's about a young orphan who arrives at a new home to new foster parents, Hans and Rosa. When Hans, a kindly house painter, learns that his new orphan can't read, he teaches the child the wonders of written language. The orphan grows to love books, even rescuing one from the Nazi fire. And although her family can barely scrap by as it is, their situation becomes even more dire when they secretly shelter a Jewish boy who once saved Hans' life. So this is, I believe it was on Oprah's book list, The Book Thief. I think it's now a movie. That's one of my favorite books of all time. Another really, really good book I would suggest is The Alchemist. The Alchemist tells a story of a young shepherd named San Diego who was able to find the treasure but beyond his wildest dreams. Along the way, he learns to listen to his heart and, more importantly, realizes that his dreams of finding his personal legend are not just his, but part of the soul of the universe. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho is one of my favorite books of all time. It's such a beautiful journey. It teaches you about really chasing your dreams and following the soul of the universe. So I love that book. I'm personally reading, it's called 100 Years of Solitude. I thought it was super fitting for my quarantine read. And this one, it says it's one of the most influential literature works of our time. 100 Years of Solitude remains a dazzling and original achievement by the masterful Gabriel Marquez, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. And I'm really into it. I'm on page 82, and I think it's like a 600 page book. So I'm taking my time because a lot of the time I would rush through my books, but I really like to make a connection with the characters because they become your friends. I have so many books that I miss, and it's good to reread books. Like The Outsiders, it's a movie as well. The one character, Ponyboy, he's like, I feel like I read the book when I was 13, and I just had such a connection with Ponyboy. And I think that's the next book I'm going to reread because you read something when you're a young adult and you go back to it and you miss themes and symbols you may have not realized before. So I think that's a great thing to do right now that we're stuck in home. Let's grab a good book, watch a good movie, and connect with the people we love with. The show is just about to end. 30 minutes goes by so fast. Before I head out, though, I wanted to give the viewers something to comment in the space below. So I was thinking about this a lot. If you could give your past self, I'm past self as like 2 months ago, past self. If you could give your past self a hint about the future without telling them about coronavirus, what would it be? Or like, what hints would you give your past self? If I traveled back in time, the 2 months back in time, I would be like, B, you need to invest in virtual productions, AMP Media, for one, because that's how people are talking. We're living in the digital age. You know, we have to be quick on our feet. Production can happen anywhere. As you can see, AMP Media does a great job by connecting not only ourselves with our loved ones, but with businesses, with the outside world. I would also tell myself to buy a puppy to keep me sane and to give me a reason to go walk outside. And I would tell myself to work as much as I can and to not complain about working or leaving the house. So those are just some few things I would tell my past self. Comment below a couple things you would tell your past self, but you can't tell them about coronavirus and you can't tell them about anything COVID-19. So those are just my tips for my past self. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my very first show. On Friday, I'm going to have Nada. She's owner and founder of Bald Girls Do It Better. She's going to be a guest on my show. And I'm going to be talking about what it's been like as a college student to midway in the semester start taking classes online, and what it's like as a senior not being able to walk for graduation. And so we're going to be diving into that a little bit. Thank you guys so much again. I'll see you on Friday at 11 o'clock. Have a great weekend.